Okay, so you are considering applying for the Innovator Founder Visa, but not sure how much funding you need to apply. Well, in this video, I will talk about the types of funding options that are available to you, how much funding is sufficient for your business venture, and how you can prove your financial viability at startup. So let's get started with this video. For those of you who are new to my channel, my name is Faisal Malik. I have been writing business plans since 2009. I have written more than 1000 business plans to date, and I provide services mainly on the Innovator Founder Visa, investor business plans, and other strategic business plans. All right, now let's talk about the funding requirement. As we understand from Home Office guidelines that there are no minimum capital requirement for this visa category. But does it mean zero capital? And the simple and straight answer to that question is absolutely not. You still have to prove that you got access to sufficient funds to not only launch your startup, but also finance its operations in the next 12 months. Now, this is very subjective. Funding requirement varies from business to business, and it also depends on what stage you are currently in. Some applicants would be probably already in the development phase, some might have already completed the product. So, there are a lot of variables that will determine that what is the minimum capital requirement that you would have to prove in order to validate that you have access to sufficient funds. Typically speaking, if you have a tech startup and you have now in the stage of research and planning, you do not have any product prototype or any product functional product whatsoever. So in that case, I would suggest to keep a minimum range of £30,000 to £50,000 in mind, because if you have low capital like 15,000 or 20,000 capital, this will be extremely hard for you to validate or to prove that your business idea is sustainable. Like you have actually invested a good amount of money in your business to survive its operation, not only at startup but in the subsequent months as well. So we are looking at like 30,000 to 50,000 pounds of range, and it could be more if you also intend to get into the hardware manufacturing of any sort in the UK, because hardware manufacturing would require you to build a production facility, for example, in the UK, and that could be extremely costly. So that's an ideal range that normally people look for, and if you are within that range, from 30,000 pounds to 50,000 pounds, I think you will not have any problems proving that your financial viability is good. Now let's talk about the source of funding. So one source is obvious, and that is you. You can prove that you have access to sufficient funds from your own personal savings. That's number one source that you can prove in your business plan. For that option, you just need to provide a bank statement. And now there is no timeline requirement for the bank statement as well. So you can just take out the last 1 month of bank statement, and the ending balance should be more than what you actually have mentioned in your business plan, whether it is 30,000, 40,000, 50,000 pounds, right? Secondly, if that amount is currently laying in your country, so if you're not in the UK, if you are somewhere else, for example, if you are in Pakistan, so in that case, you just need to provide that bank statement, which would of course be in your local currency, and then you would have to convert that amount into GBP based on the prevailing open market rate, and that should convert to more than what you are investing in your business. The second option which is available to you is that if you do not have that much of capital available in your bank account, you can get it from any other third-party source. That could include your friends, your family members, or even a completely unrelated person. So for that purpose, you would have to show that they have given you the permission to use their capital for the launch and setup of your business in the UK. For that reason, you need to get a letter signed from them confirming their commitment that they have committed this much of capital. So for example, if you are relying 100% on third-party funding and that funding amounts to £30,000, so in that case you need a letter confirming that £30,000 is available in that third-party investor's bank account, and he or she is willing to give you that much of capital, whether as an equity or a loan. So there are also two further options for you. Either you can get it as an equity, which means that you will share a percentage of ownership with that investor, maybe 10%, 20%, whatever is agreed between both of you. Or you can get it as a loan. Most of the time, I mean, if the investment is coming from a family member, let's say your brother or your sister or your parents, so in that case it would be considered as a long-term loan, more likely be an interest-free loan, and you need to get a letter signed, mention all the terms and conditions of the agreement on the letter, and along with that letter you need a bank statement from your investor to prove that they actually got that much of funds available in their bank account. So after you have sorted out your funding source, whether it is your personal source or it is coming from a third party investor, now is the time to prove your financial viability in the business plan. So now you will have to create a complete startup plan showing all the expenses and assets that you would have to purchase from that investment. And normally it could also vary case by case, but normally speaking, 1/3 of your investment will go to the product development. Probably another 1/3 will go to marketing and advertisement to promote your product in the market. And similarly, 1/3 will be reserved for contingencies and to pay off any expenses that you will incur when you will start operating your business. And 12 month of cash flow statement will be prepared, and that will show that you will be able to easily manage your finances, just in case if your sales are delayed, or maybe you are not able to realize that much of sales revenue what you have predicted in your business plan. Try to avoid common mistakes that people actually make when they prepare their business plan. The number one mistake is that they actually do not provide the source of funding, that where the funding is coming from. Normally underestimate that they would actually need some sort of capital to prove in order to get the visa. They believe that this can be done by just stating in the business plan that they will get the visa and then they will look for the investment. This is not going to work. Secondly, you will have to make sure that you do not overly optimistically forecast your revenue, because otherwise your cash flow will look very unrealistic. Always start from the lower possible sales revenue, and then try to cover any excessive from your available cash reserve. Like the one I mentioned about earlier, 1/3 of your cash or investment will be reserved as cash for operations and for contingencies as well. So make sure that you utilize that investment when you do not have enough sales. So just to recap, the overall funding requirement for this visa route, there is no minimum capital requirement which is defined by Home Office for this specific route, but you still need to prove access to sufficient funds, and sufficient funds could vary from case to case, and it also depends on your business type as well. Secondly, you can get funding from any other source if you do not have those funds available in your own account. For that reason, you need to get a signed letter from the investor showing their commitment that they have already committed to provide you the investment, either as a loan or as an equity investment. And thirdly, you will have to prove that you will actually be able to finance your startup costs and your first 12 months of operating expenses from the available investment. If you have any further questions regarding this Innovator Founder Visa and its funding requirements specifically, comment below in this video and I will be happy to answer all of your questions.